I feel this is going my way.
Hi, Tove here from Klevgrand, Stockholm. I'm here to talk to you about our GotoEQ and how I use it on drums and vocals using the low-end trick and dynamic attenuation. Up in the corner you see the index of this video, so if you want to skip ahead to the vocal example, just click the link. Overview. The GotoEQ is a passive equalizer that reproduces the sound quality of a vintage EQ. It's got a low shelf filter and a high shelf filter, two mid-parametric filters, a high-pass filter with cutoff at 20, 40 and 80 Hz. And all four bands have continuous frequency selection. You have boost and attenuation for both the low and the high shelving filters. You have gain, Q and dynamic attenuation for the two mid-parametric filters. On the top you have the preset library, you have global bypass as well as individual bypass for all four bands. You have global input and output and peak metering. Many of you are familiar with how the Pultec works, and what's so cool about the GotoEQ is that it has a similar approach, and it gives you the possibility to accomplish the high or low end trick with both boost and attenuation. What's also cool is the two mid-parametric filters and their dynamic attenuation. It has finely tuned compression algorithms, and it makes the mid bands react dynamically to the signal. Drums! Here's a track with drums, bass, guitars, a few keys and vocals. Let's listen.
Feel this is going my way. Getting high and the low like the tide. I flow like water, like water. I know
Let's listen to the drums.
Feel this way.
I would like a little more to the kick, but I don't want it to be too boomy in the low end. This is when I use the low end trick with both boost and attenuation. The reason why they're not cancelling each other out is that it's actually two parallel filters. And due to each filter's phase shifting, the sum of the two filters adds a notch right above the frequency you've selected. And the frequencies below are boosted. This is what they call the low end trick. Let's listen to the kick. So I'm gonna boost the low shelving filter just to hear what frequency I'm gonna adjust. And that's too much boost, so I'll lower it about there. And if I pull the attenuation up to maximum, it sounds like this. So that's too much. That's great. I'm also gonna raise some of those higher mids. So I'm gonna get it up to about 7 or 8 decibel. But I also wanna use some of the dynamic attenuation, and I'm also gonna raise some of those higher frequencies. Let's listen with the EQ off. And on. Now let's listen to the overheads. So one scenario could be that you have too much tone or ringing from the snare, and you want to get rid of some of that, but you don't want to lose the room or everything else in the same frequency range. This is when you can use the dynamic attenuation. Dynamic attenuation works just as a regular compressor, but whose sidechain signal is a narrow frequency band of the input signal to the EQ. And instead of affecting the whole frequency range, you get a quick dip at the selected frequency. The red knob for dynamic attenuation affects both threshold and ratio, and the algorithms are fine-tuned to work musically. So I'm gonna find some of those lower mids that I want to get rid of, raising the gain while I find the right frequency. So this is with the dynamic attenuation to the max. And I'm gonna lower it. I also want to get rid of the higher mids. This is what it sounds like without the EQ. and on. Vocals! Let's listen to the vocals of the song.
Feel this is going my way. Getting high in the low like the tide. I flow like water, like water. I know you can feel this.
Okay, so I think some of those S's are a bit sharp, and I want to lower those without affecting everything in the same frequency. That's when I use the dynamic attenuation. I also want to add more air with a high shelf filter and pull out some of those high mids with attenuation. I also think there's some mud in the lower mids, and if I listen to the whole arrangement of the song, I think we can afford some warmth in the low frequencies. I'm gonna start by finding some of those S's.
Feel this is going my way. Getting high in the low like the tide. I flow like water, like water.
And this is with the dynamic attenuation to the fullest.
I feel this is going my way.
So I'm gonna lower it to about 39%.
I feel this is going my way.
Now for some of that air, using the high shelf filter. I'm gonna boost while I find the right frequency.
I feel this is going my way. Getting high in the low like the tide. I flow like water, like water. I know you can feel this wave. Getting close.
I'm gonna pull out some of those lower mids.
I feel this is going my way. Getting high in the low like the tide. I flow like water, like water. I feel this is going my way. Getting high in the low like the tide.
And now for some of that warmth in the lower frequencies.
I feel this is going my way. Getting high in the low like the tide. I flow like water, like water. I know you can feel this.
Let's listen without the EQ.
I feel this is going my way.
And with.
I feel this is going my way. Getting high in the low like the tide. I flow like water.
Summary! The GotoEQ has 2 bands with both boost and attenuation. You have 2 bands with dynamic attenuation, and you can use this to create the low mid scoop on bass tracks, DS vocals or D harsh overheads using dynamic attenuation, add air with a high shelf filter, and scooping using the high end trick. Control the nose of the bass track using dynamic attenuation, and you can subtly EQ a bus or a whole mix with light settings and mild compression. That's it for me. Thank you for watching.
This is
See you next
going
time.
my way.